booktube! It's Becky from Becky Writes, this is Becky Reads, and this is my RYBSAT wrap-up video. RYBSAT, or Read-You-Book-Shelf-A-Thon, is a readathon that asks you to read from one point on your owned bookshelf through to another stopping point. I was able to get through 3 of the books on my TBR list, so without any further ado, let's just jump right in. The first book that I finished for RYBSAT was Lola and the Boy Next Door. This is by Stephanie Perkins and is the second in a companion trilogy that begins with Anna and the French Kiss. Lola and the Boy Next Door follows our main character, Lola, as she enters her junior year of high school. Lola is dating an older boy named Max, who's in a band, and she is this flamboyant character who wears wigs and really outlandish clothing and wants to one day be a fashion designer. Lola's best friend is Lindsay. Lindsay's family owns a Korean restaurant and she lives a couple of blocks down the road, and they've been friends for a long time when this book opens. Now, the main plot of Lola is that Lola is dating Max, who is a bit older than her, a little bit too old, and her fathers do not like this. And then one day Lola sees that new neighbors are moving across the street, except they aren't new neighbors, they're old neighbors moving back. The Bells are moving in across the street, and in the Bell family there are twins, Calliope, who is a figure skater, and Cricket, her twin brother, whom Lola has had a crush on for her whole life and basically had her heart stamped on by him. Lola is thrust in the middle between 2 boys, the boy she's dating and the boy she used to dream of. If you can't tell by the cover, Lola and the Boy Next Door takes place in San Francisco, and I live outside of San Francisco, and one of the things I loved the most about this book is that this city is like another character. It's vibrant and alive, and the descriptions of Dolores Park and several other places feel real and like a love letter to the city, and I just really enjoyed that. Another one of the things that I really liked about Lola is that Lola is raised by 2 gay men. She has 2 fathers, and she addresses this pretty upfront in the beginning of the book. She talks about the relationship and about how there isn't a woman, you know, that they're just 2 gay men raising her, and I think that that makes this one of the best contemporaries I've read in a long time. Her fathers are round characters, they're not flat, they are not stereotypical, they're full beings. They're full people who aren't defined just by the fact that they're gay men that are raising this little girl. And I just love that. I think that this is a great example of parenting, number 1, and then queer parents who are just normal parents. I really enjoyed Lola, and I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. And this was just a really fun, charming, great read. It had just enough angst to get you feeling for the characters without being melodramatic. The city was fun. Lola's love of costuming was fun, and it was just a really great romance to read. However, I have 2 critiques of this book. The first is that her best friend, Lindsay, is a flat character and we don't see a lot of her. I know that there's kind of a reason in the plot that we don't see as much of her, but I think that this would have been a better book to have Lindsay. Lindsay's Korean American, and I think that having her perspective, her love of detective work, her vibrancy would have rounded out Lola a lot more. So I would have wished for, I don't know, just more scenes with Lindsay and Lola just being BFFs. Another critique I have of this is the end when Lola is with the boy that she ends up choosing. I think that they go from yay, we're together to lifelong declarations of commitment, and that just seems a little bit too fast. So that is a critique that I have. But really, aside from those 2 things, I thought this was great. I don't normally read contemporary, so this was a really good excuse for me to pick this up and just really enjoy it. The second book I finished for RYBSAT was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Now, I could gush about this for the rest of the video, and I'm not. If you're interested in a lot of my feelings about this book, I will link my spoiler-filled gush video with all of my thoughts. But basically, I loved Six of Crows. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Yes, I am just Leigh Bardugo trash. Whatever Leigh Bardugo writes, I am going to read. Like, she could write a grocery list and I would read it. Let's be real. Six of Crows is a heist novel that takes place in the same world as the Grisha trilogy, although later than the events of the Grisha trilogy, and in a different country. This mostly takes place in Kerch, which is a trading island similar to Amsterdam in our world. This story brings together 6 teenagers who are tasked with an impossible heist, and they are are led by the wily and charismatic Kaz Brecker, who is also called Dirty Hands. He's the leader of a street gang, and several of the crows in this book are people who are part of his street gang. All of these characters bring really complicated pasts and really nuanced perspectives, emotions, and motivations to why they are part of the heist gang. This book was fantastic. The pacing was spot on, the heist was compelling, and the characters made this book. Leigh Bardugo has gotten better and better and better with every book she writes, and so I am really excited for the sequel. Again, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. And the final book that I read for RYBSAT was Isla and the Happily Ever After. This is the third and final book in the companion series that started with Anne and the French Kiss and had Lola and the Boy Next Door, and this is by Stephanie Perkins. This last installment follows Isla Martin and Josh Wasserstein as they finish their last year at the boarding school in Paris, where we first met Etienne and Anna. And unlike Lola and Anna, Isla and Josh get together within the first couple of chapters. They get together pretty early on, and this book chronicles their relationship and what happens when they are separated, and as a lot of Isla working through her own insecurities and doubts about being in a relationship and being worthy of love. Now, I don't think the story was nearly as good as Lola or Anna. I don't think it was as compelling, and I do feel in some ways that this was just kind of a, well, we have extra characters, let's wrap this up in a nice bow. However, this book made me cry. I had to go fix this makeup before I filmed this video because this book made me cry. Real tears. Stephanie Perkins managed to make me cry real tears, and that is not an easy thing to do, I will let you know. So, well done, Stephanie Perkins. I think one of the reasons that I loved this book so much was I identified so much with Isla and her insecurities and her fears and her worries about whether she is enough to be loved, whether she's enough for risk, whether she is brave enough to love back. I mean, all of those fears I felt were very well done and real and compelling. I will say this is a critique I had for this, and I had it for Lola, and I also had it for Anna, which is they move very quickly from, oh, I really like you, let's start dating, to you're the one for me. Like, there is no one else, you're the one. And I know that teenagers do that, but this just seemed really extreme. It's not really a case of insta love exactly. It's more like going from love to like lifelong commitment in a really quick time, and I felt like that was the most unrealistic part of this book. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, and Stephanie Perkins, I am here for your books, so you keep writing, I'll keep reading, and I am grateful that these books have given me an inroad into contemporary YA, because it's definitely not something I would normally pick up, like not at all. So those were 3 books I managed to get through during RYBSAT. Now RYBSAT has already overlapped with Book Buddy-a-thon, so I've already started Boy Snow Bird by Helen Oyeyemi, but these are the 3 books I finished for this readathon. If you participated, let me know. What was your favorite book of the readathon? Perhaps unsurprising, my favorite book was Six of Crows, because I love this book. I can't say I had a least favorite because I did really enjoy all the books I read, and yeah, it was a good reading week for me. Hope you guys are all doing well, and I will talk to you later. Bye!